Hello and welcome to this Astranti video, and as you can see based on the title on your screen, today's video is going to be an industry analysis for the operational case study, and you should know by now that the case study company is Meals at Home. They are a meal kit manufacturing company. And so in this video, I'm going to be taking a look at the wider industry that Meals at Home operates in, giving you some real world examples that you can use in your exam to really elevate your answers to that next level. And so why bother watching this video? Well, I've kind of alluded to it just there. And to put it simply, the reason is because the examiner asks us to reference real-world examples in the real-world industry as part of the examiner's report. You can see here an awareness of the industry that the business is in will help you to think of the wider issues that might impact on decisions that you could be asked to comment on. So the long and short of it is that if you have a good understanding of the industry and some real-world examples that relate to the business in question, in this case Meals at Home, then that is going to really elevate your answers and allow you to score the highest marks in your OCS exam. And so you can see here the examiners, they expect you to have excellent knowledge of the pre-scene industry and to demonstrate this in the exam. We know that the case study is designed to test your application to the real world. So it's all very well knowing all the theory that underpins your answers in the exam. The theory is really important, don't get me wrong. But what is also important specifically with the case study is your ability to apply it to the real world. And that might sound daunting, but that is what this industry analysis video is going to help you to do. So just a quick recap, we know that you are a finance officer working within the finance department of Meals at Home. That's the role that you are playing in the exam. And you're going to be involved in the preparation of management accounting information, assisting with decision making, specifically and often short-term decision making. And at times, you're also expected to assist with the preparation of financial statements and answer queries regarding financial reporting and other financial matters. So this is all about the role that you're playing in the exam. So when you are answering the questions and reading the unseen material that comes up in the exam, this is the perspective that you've got to be thinking from. You're meant to be providing logical business advice as though you are this finance officer working in this finance department. So every time you're reading something in the exam, this has to always be in the back of your mind. What role is it that I'm playing? What responsibilities do I have? And so that's some admin before we get started. Now let's get on with the industry analysis itself. So let's start at the start. We're going to start with a look at the history of the meal kit industry. And you can see here, the idea of a meal kit is a relatively modern phenomenon. It's not something that's been around for years and years. In fact, the concept would likely have been alien to anybody around prior to the 21st century. However, as it says here, fast forward today, and the meal kit industry is a thriving multi-billion-dollar industry. And this is an important point. It is only projected to continue its growth. So the meal kit we know today was birthed in 2007 in Sweden by Kiki Theander. She sat in a sunny park and daydreamed about her dream situation, and she later founded the company Middagsfrid. I'm not sure I pronounced that one correctly, but that's my best shot. And this company operated by delivering bags of groceries to customers' houses, and it became extremely popular very quickly. So we know that the meal kit industry began in Sweden, and it's unsurprising, therefore, that a lot of the market for the meal kits is in Europe. Although they are popular around the world, we'll get onto that in a bit more detail later. A lot of the market for meal kits is in Europe. And so during the 2010s, this was when the industry really began to cross the Atlantic into the US market. And a really important year to note if you're thinking about the industry and its history is 2012, because this is when a lot of today's giants of the industry began to take their first sort of steps into the market. So this includes HelloFresh, which is perhaps the most world-renowned meal kit company. They initially sold to customers primarily in Berlin, Amsterdam, and London, so targeting these big, heavily populated areas. But this company did not stop there. They continued to expand across Europe, as well as into the US and Australian markets. 2012 also saw the arrival of Blue Apron. They're a US-based meal kit service, one of the most famous and one of the most popular meal kit services in the United States, so I wouldn't be surprised if you have already heard of them. And by 2016, the meal kit industry had generated more than $1 billion worth of sales, and the United States alone had over 150 meal kit providers in question. So you can really see how quickly the meal kit industry grew from its humble origins in Sweden into a $1 billion industry. So let's continue with our little history here. In 2017, HelloFresh was named the fastest growing company in Europe. So you can see just how quickly the industry is growing and just how successfully a lot of these companies were able to capitalize on this growth. And since then, the meal kit industry as a whole has only continued on its upward trajectory, with the global industry valued at $10.26 billion as of 2020. The industry's success has led to many other companies entering the market, including companies such as Walmart and Weight Watchers. So these are big companies that maybe didn't originate starting out with the meal kits, but they're now looking to get in on some of the fun, get in on some of that growth, and enter the market at this late date. So potentially, if we're thinking here about our pre-scene company, could these be a potential threat to the pre-scene company? So with that in mind, let's apply this to the pre-scene. So Meals at Home, founded in 2012. So this is the same year that many of its largest competitors also began their operations. And considering the early 2010s was such an enormous period of enormous growth for the meal kit industry, it will come to no surprise that Meals at Home was able to generate $4.53 million new land dollars of revenue within its first year of trading. Now, obviously, we don't know how much a new land dollar is actually worth, but we can assume that it is similar to the pound, similar to the euro, similar to these standard European currencies, considering Newland is situated in Europe. And this is another point worth raising, that Meals at Home sells solely to customers within Newland, whereas a lot of the other companies founded around this time have gone on to capitalize on the industry's worldwide growth and expand beyond Europe into other international markets. For example, HelloFresh distributing meal kits in 15 different countries, including the US and Australia, so big, heavily populated countries there. So for Meals at Home, could it be worth considering a following on this trend and looking to expand abroad? Specifically, Meals at Home should consider a venture into the US market, considering this makes up a pretty sizable 45% share of the global meal kit industry. So there we've identified a potential opportunity for Meals at Home. Let's move on to think about the product itself. So the primary product offered by companies in the meal kit industry is a delivery of ingredients. These are often pre-proportioned or pre-measured, as well as a set of instructions that are going to inform the customer of how to prepare these ingredients. And these ingredients are coming in the form of a meal box, which is going to contain the pre-measured ingredients for several recipes. So often you're not just ordering one meal kit, you are ordering several, but they will come packaged within one of these meal boxes. Now, most meal kit providers operate using a subscription service. This is something that's quite important to remember because it really is a distinctive industry standard that meal kit providers operate using this subscription service. So customers sign up to have a certain number of meals delivered on a weekly or monthly basis, although it isn't uncommon for customers to offer single purchase boxes, but my personal thinking on this is that the vast majority of big meal kit providers do operate using a subscription service. So there could be something to that, as far as potentially Meals at Home could look to move away from this in order to differentiate themselves. Prices generally vary between $4 and $7 per meal, so That's kind of the industry standard price that we should be looking at, but it's worth noting that the price per meal falls as the customer orders more meals as part of their box. So there's a bit of an insight into the pricing strategy of these meal kit companies. So a point here about heat and eat against cook and eat. So there are effectively two sort of types of meal kit. So some companies offer a relatively similar service in which meal kits are delivered already prepared, or at least the meals are already prepared, and they only require reheating in a microwave or oven. So this is obviously going to further reduce the amount of time and effort required by the customer, and therefore potentially give them an advantage over these cook and eat services such as meals at home. Potentially this could be the case because the main appeal of meal kits as a whole is that they are so convenient and they are so good for saving time. So if you have a rival product or a substitute product that does this to an even greater extent, this could potentially be a threat to meal kit companies generally, not least of which would be meals at home. So as of 2020, these heat and eat services, they made up 39% of the global meal kit industry. So not an insignificant amount of the total global meal kit industry there, almost half or just under half of the total market share. And this is, like I say, fueled by demand for an even easier and more time efficient way of preparing meals. Let's give that a highlight. So we've thought a bit about the product itself. Let's have a think now about direct competitors. What are the companies that Meals at Home, our pre-seen company, is going to have to be most concerned with? Well, we have HelloFresh. Most of us will have heard of them. They're a multinational organization offering meal kits delivered on a subscription basis. Likewise, we have Blue Apron in the US, Gobble offering a similar service in the US. And then there are some companies which have a specific niche in the market. So Every Plate have this emphasis on affordability. We have All Plants, which is a vegan heat and eat service. So like the services we've just discovered, maybe a little more convenient and a little better for saving time. Mindful Chef, all meals are dairy and gluten free. We have Kochzauber, a German meal kit provider that have been recently acquired by Lidl. We'll talk a little bit about acquisitions across this video series. And we have Amazon Fresh, and I'm sure you've heard of Amazon, just a small company in the world, Amazon. They have ventured into the groceries market themselves, and primarily through these grocery stores, Amazon, in the form of Amazon Fresh, are offering deliveries of meal kits. And then we have the OGs, Middagsfrid, the first meal kit company. And they have an emphasis on the high quality ingredients, but they only operate in Sweden, so maybe not a real threat to our company, Meals at Home.
Now, while I've got your attention at the end of this video, I'd like to make you aware of the other products that Astranti sell as part of the case study course. So the first of these is a series of study text and tuition videos. And these come in two flavors. You have our written study text if you prefer learning through reading, or you can watch our videos if you're more of a visual learner. Now to start with, we have an exam technique study series, which breaks down how to succeed at various case study levels. We'll be looking at exam technique, writing style, and planning that you need to nail to be successful in your case study exams. And to accompany this, we also have a revision series dedicated to the theory side of things. This is because at the case study level, there is a large amount of theory you need to be capable of using in your case study exam. So what we've done here is we've taken the key areas of the theory from the 3 case study levels and condensed them into a series of chapters to help focus your revision. Moving away from the more generic products and onto the products that are specific to the case study pre-scene, the first of these is the pre-scene analysis video series. First and foremost, this contains a series of videos where we break down the relevant pre-scene at the appropriate level of the qualification, page by page. And throughout this video, we bring out all the key points that could be relevant for you in your exam, looking at various topics and things you might need to consider when revising for the case study. And then to supplement the pre-scene analysis, we also have 2 videos. We have the strategic analysis where we give a broad overview of what kind of strategy the pre-scene company is using and where it might be going in the future. And then we also look at the top 10 issues that we think this pre-scene company might be subject to and something that you may need to take into consideration when revising for the case study. We then provide an industry analysis document and accompanying video. CIMA like to see you demonstrate wider industry knowledge in your exam, and this is what this industry analysis does, as it gives you the wider industry knowledge you need in order to fulfill this requirement. Essentially what it is, it's a large document that we've compiled on all the relevant industry information that we have gathered so that you don't have to do the revision yourself. And then to accompany this, we of course have a video that goes over this document to pick out some of the key points for you if you'd prefer that. We also produce a number of mock exams for every sitting. We write 5 mock exams for the first exam sitting, and then we add 2 more supplementary mocks for the second exam sitting. We design these mocks around the specific issues relevant to the pre-scene and make them as close to the real thing as you will see in the case study exam as possible. So these are a great way to practice your exam technique and test your knowledge of the pre-scene company under timed conditions. And then to add value to this product, we also offer a marking and feedback service. So we have a range of highly skilled finance professionals working as freelance staff for us, and it is these staff that provide the marking and feedback service. So this is a great service to use in conjunction with our mock exams, as it gives you a great idea of how you're progressing in the areas you need to work on for your case study exam. And then if you're in need of extra exam practice, we also provide a more generic question pack product. So obviously there are only so many questions you could write about on a specific pre-scene. So what this question pack is a series of generic questions on generic scenarios that we come up with at Astranti, whereby we look to test specific topics that come up regularly in the case study exam. So if there is a particular topic you are struggling with and we've only tested once in our mocks, and you'd like more practice on it, then these question packs will be a great product for you to turn to. The penultimate product on this list is a product for those of you who would like to get a full overriding picture in terms of your revision all at once, and these are our masterclasses. So these are our expert tutors who hold 2 masterclasses every exam sitting, and these essentially cover all key aspects that you're going to need to know for your relevant exams. So from particular theories to analyses of the pre-scene, all the way through to tips and tricks you can use in your exam. And finally, such is the confidence we have in the quality of our product that if you do purchase a full course from us and you unfortunately do not pass your exam using our product, then we will offer what we call a pass guarantee. So if you did not pass your exam after purchasing our full course, then you will receive the materials for the next exam sitting free of charge. And if you want to follow us and get in contact with us concerning the case study or any other matter, you can follow us on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, and YouTube.